Welcome to Booklandia, where we review romance novels.
This and every episode are chock full of oversharing and spoilers. Every episode is rated E for explicit.
Just mashing buttons. But I think I mashed all the correct ones.
I didn't know this was a video game podcast.
That's right, where I'm just mashing buttons and
Amazing.
You're watching me do it.
Amazing.
But hey, it all came up.
It did.
Yes.
It did.
Oh wait, you know what it didn't do though? It put up our names. Wait, I'm so sorry. Hi.
One of these days we'll get good at this.
Yes. In case you're not watching this, you're missing out on this hilarity of us having switched chairs. We're now in the opposite chairs from each other.
It's one of those things where you think, like, do we usually walk and sit on the other sides of each other? Like,
I feel like yes.
Do I usually sit on your shaved side and not your hair flippy side? Like, that can't be really true, but this feels so weird.
It feels weird. This is weird. This is weird. Hello and welcome to this episode of Booklandia.
Yes.
This is episode 2 of season 3. We are talking about Red, White, and Royal Blue.
We are.
And we're sitting on the wrong sides of each other. And
it's the winder shins of podcasting.
There we go. So do be prepared for some backwardsies situations.
Absolutely. Also, do admire our similar haircuts because someone went to my stylist.
True story. Well, mine moved away, so it was
jokes on her, I guess.
Clearly.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, how are you? Hi. What's life like? What are you? How?
Life is absolutely madhouse. End of the year is ridiculous. Both in terms of life outside of work and life inside of work. Everything revolves around the end of the year. And so there's this, like, today someone was like, bye, see you in the fall. And I was like, what are we even talking about? How are we not? And I'm like, oh, right, because some people function on a 9-month schedule, and we are there. Here we are, there we are. So it's been extremely busy. I'm so sorry. I'm pretty sure that my watch was going to contribute to this conversation, but it's fine. Yes, so very busy. Did get a haircut. Drove halfway across town to do so, but I'm very happy I've done it. So thank you.
And then you were halfway to my house already. So
yes, so that worked out.
To the podcasting cube.
To the podcasting cube. Oh, that does sound good.
Thank you. Or we should rename it something else and better. If you have any suggestions of names, podcasting cube is just a draft. How am I? I agree with you. The 9-month thing is weird. Nobody puts away messages on their emails. It makes me crazy. Things are actually kind of slowing down for me. We're fully in summer mode and have been so for about a month. So, I'm just plodding away at season prep and, like, I'm actually getting things done without fires being dropped in my lap. So, it's nice, and then, like, summer hours are good, and traffic is still terrible. So, like, same.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, and also, yay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll go with both of those.
Yeah. Cover all the bases.
Yes. All right. Should we to the book?
To the book!
To the book.
To this book.
To this book.
Or you make it bigger and cuter.
There we go. There she goes.
So
today, here's the cover for Red, White, and Royal Blue. This is the original cover of the U.S. release of the book.
Yes.
Also, I imagine the UK, but honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't do research here. Just a reminder, this is not a research-based podcast.
Also a reminder, there will be spoilers.
Oh, yeah, we're jumping right to the end for some of my things.
Okay, great. Yes,
Absolutely.
Same. I basically ask you questions that reveal all the things.
Yeah.
So in case you haven't read it yet, shut up, pause,
Yes.
go read it, come back.
We'll see you in 6 hours.
Yes. And then I feel like I said A, and then there should probably be a B. And the B, I think, is...
B, shut up, pause.
We always have spoilers,
Yeah.
so I hope you're ready.
Yeah.
That's really where I was headed.
Yeah.
But also, unpause. Don't forget to unpause.
I mean, come back. We're hilarious. You know what? Come back, and at the end of the episode, I will show you the French version of this book, and it will be delightful. How about that?
It is worth the reveal.
It is worth it. So
can confirm.
So come back on pause for French.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one thing that I have not been able to sort out in our podcasting
new setup
shed, what was it?
Podcasting cube.
In the podcasting cube is how to get our timer to show up on the screen. Yeah. So for those of you watching, enjoy the confusion. For those of you listening, you will hear a timer just like we will. Would you like to read the
Absolutely.
So this is red, white, and royal blue in 30 seconds or less.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
The son of the first female-identifying president of the United States accidentally has the hots for Prince Henry, the spare son of the English monarchy. When Alex tries to come to terms with his attraction, he is also navigating his own political ambitions and his mother's bid for re-election. In a series of should they, shouldn't they date, sleep together, keep it secret, we get to know that these two people both are at their sweetest, saddest, and horniest moments. I'm not gonna get to this. Could an alliance between England and the U.S. really prevent these two from happily ever after, or is it just the excuse they are using instead of having to face the real feelings they have for each other? That's a very lovely blurb you wrote.
Hey, thanks!
You're welcome.
In case it isn't abundantly clear, I am obsessed.
Oh, yeah, deeply.
Yes.
Sorry, I have not yet made it abundantly clear. Same Z's.
Yes, so very, very obsessed with...
I feel like we read this book right when it came out, or very soon after it came out.
Yes, it definitely was. Wait, no, it was the following year, because it was already 2020. In fact, I think it might have been my last book before the pandemic. I do remember that I finished reading it on my way to you. I remember turning onto your street and getting to the fireworks at the end and being like, I should drive slower because I want to get to the very last page of my audiobook. Could be completely clear. I was not reading while driving, but I did make it sound like that was the case. So, yes.
It feels like this book I have loved this book for far longer than 3 years.
Yes. Possibly.
But maybe that's just the magic of it.
That is perhaps the magic of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 2019. We did read it early and it's like before the world knew how good it was. I feel like we were like the first wave of this book is good. Put away whatever you're reading and pick this one up instead.
Yeah. It in the eon that it's been in my life, because that's what it feels like, has remained in the very highest top spots for me. Whenever people want a book recommendation, this one, I never have to remember the name. I never have to remember that it's Cassie McQuiston. Like, it is the shit.
Yeah, I would say that I'm a little jealous because you reread it recently and I did not have the time or the chance to do so.
It's been crazy. You mentioned it.
Exactly. It's been a little crazy. But I'm like, ooh, but I want to so very badly. And yeah, right. Just do it again. Now, having said that, I remember all of it.
Yeah.
And that to me is a sign of a 5-star book for me is if I can recall really like nitty gritty details of a book and its characters way after I've read it. And for this book, it will have been 3 years at least, if not more. And like I was like, hey, remember this one thing, and it was really deep in there. So in case, it was really deep in there. We will get to that after the break.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna start with my first question only if I can get my cursor over here to this place with the questions. Okay, great. So
I get arrows.
I'm good. Okay.
So
this book is set in preparation for the 2020 election in this fictional world.
Yeah.
What were your feelings about reading a world where you were actually rooting for a president to get reelected?
I think, well, like, that is the magic of this book, right? So, published in 2019, where, starting to think about re-elections after the Cheeto, like getting the Cheeto out of there. And this book is the fantasy. Like, what would it have been like if someone like Hillary had won? And that is like one of the levels of charm of this. The reread of it, like it's just so cozy to just reread this because like I was waiting for the points that I really remember strongly and like they happen and they're still good. And then there's coloring now that we're 4 years later, and just like the what could have been is very strong in this book. You're like, oh, this is what inspired Casey McQuiston to write this partially, right? So, what was your question?
It was about your feelings towards the re-election.
Sure.
While reading a book in which the re-election was a happy thing,
right,
or a thing that I was rooting for.
Oh, absolutely rooting for it. And like I think the difference being like this book has a firmly seated female president, and in that, you know, we're rooting for an old white guy, but like, oh, there's a bug.
I'm so sorry, I followed a bug and distracted you from your
It's okay.
train of thought.
Yeah, I'm firmly distracted. You know, look, we had to root for an old white guy. It was the lesser of some evils in some respects, but like, yeah, I like Cheetos in a tiny, fun-sized bag, not in my political spheres.
Copy that.
And this is our political podcast, Cube.
I think this is, I mean, there might be one more question I'm asking, but it's political, but that's about it.
When when both of the main characters are in political seats, like they hold, I guess in political, when a monarchy, yeah, sure, we're counting it close enough, tangential. Like, it's gonna be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
All right. So, there are 2 Secret Service agents that follow the Alex around, and I think they're in this reread. I was like, oh, these are just really terrible Secret Service agents. Like, they're never like standing, like scoping out the thing. They're always just like hanging out, like buddies, like friends. So, do you agree, Amy and Cash, world's worst Secret Service people or nah?
Well, not worst, I would say.
Okay.
At least they're good people.
Yes.
You like them very much.
Absolutely.
They add great color to the background characters.
Yes.
There was one really like shoved in there moment about Cash.
Yeah.
And the pansexual flag, and or pin, and I was like, that was maybe like really shoved in there, and I did not need that to be shoved in there. Yeah. I know what I'm saying. I'm headed there on purpose, but yeah, short of that, they added good color. They have fun commentary, but yeah, the number of times they lose their charge is far too many.
They're at the like re-election, I don't know, conference. Where is it when you're waiting to hear if you win the thing? Whatever that is.
The campaign headquarters.
Yeah, but it's like a ballroom full of people. It's where they will make their concession or acceptance speech. Like, thousands of people, and I know the location. Like, it's I saw an opera there, so it seats hundreds of people, and they're just like celebrating, jumping on chairs, hugging each other, absolutely not watching the crowd at all.
Yeah,
at all. And I'm like, I guess I'll believe vetting happened.
I guess, yes.
Or they're off duty. Like, it's just the weirdest.
It was a little, that was a little unclear. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, there's something, we haven't read any, like, Secret Service romances.
I'm sure they're out there. We're just not.
I want to get technical. I want to know shit.
That's not a romance. That's a manual for like read someone's bio or biography. Like a what are they called? A memoir is the word I'm looking for. Read a memoir
or an autobiography.
That's where I was headed with that word that wasn't in my brain. Yeah, do one of those. All right.
Nah, I want some romance.
Very good. Well done.
I want some like flash my badge, baby.
So you want The Bodyguard, the book?
Oh yeah, I want. Yes, yes, I will also accept that.
Okay, Great. You ready for next?
Yes, next please.
Okay, so Raphael Luna
Mm-hmm.
felt like a setup for a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like everything heading up to the reveal of why he's doing the things he's doing felt like we were setting up for a bad guy.
Yeah.
And up until that point, it kind of felt like there wasn't a bad guy in the bunch.
Well,
and so, except for the Republican nominee,
Yeah.
who is the big bad of the world, it felt like not the specific bad in their circle.
Do you want to tell the people who Raphael Luna is?
Oh, yes, that would probably be useful.
Yeah.
So Raphael Luna was on the campaign trail with the current president in her first campaign, and Alex, the son, it also interned with him and is pursuing a career in politics because of the relationship that he formed with this man who is an out Latino, younger Democrat or independent.
Gay.
I
He's
said
gay.
out,
Oh, you said out.
but
I
yes,
was looking for the G word.
yes, he's out as a gay man. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess that is clearer because you can be out in all sorts of ways. And so it sort of gets set up that there's going to be this big reveal, and he's going to be this terrible dude. We don't want him to be because we like him,
Yeah.
and we want him to be an upstanding character. And then there is a big reveal at the end, and we find out that he is in fact doing what he's doing, which is unethical, to bring down a predator, a sexual predator, and in the process, he's ruining his own career to do so. And so he's not really a bad guy so much as he's sacrificing himself.
Mutually assured destruction.
Yes. And it's one of those things where I wish that there was more, like once it is revealed what he's doing, I needed more on the fallout from that. I needed
Oh yeah.
like more like
You needed the autobiography.
I needed one more mention. I don't even need a full chapter. I need one more mention in a chapter about what happened to him, because once we discover what's going on, he is away from the page from there on out.
Yeah, so I suspect he had to sit on a lot of committee hearings. And what we just never, like, how does it affect his future campaigns?
Right.
Yeah, of course. Just like give us a little something, but it might be a really boring, like sitting on committees.
Well, that's what I
hearings
mean. Like
and
if there's one more paragraph somewhere in there, and he got a really hot boyfriend.
Oh.
Right, like that's really all I need. Like, can we just get to
Who
like
is he kissing?
Yes, he did all of this, and we're very proud of his choices because they were so upstanding. But did he make out with someone hot?
Yeah. So I mean, this leads into my next question: is where is the fucking sequel? And it's not a question for you; it's a question for Cassie. How dare she? Firstly, secondly, where does she get off not writing the sequel? Sequel, please. Because, and my question is to you, I think the sequel would be about the throuple of Alex's sister, June, their best friend, what's her name? Nora, and then the sexy British philanthropist, young guy with all the good fits.
Fez. The best friend.
The best friend. I can't remember.
Ches. It's a 3-letter name.
Uh-huh.
And I'm pretty sure it's Pez.
Okay.
Go somewhere.
I'm flipping.
Okay. As you're flipping, I will answer.
Oh,
so
please.
A, there are not enough mainstream throuple books. So yes, please and thank you.
Yeah.
For anyone who's like, should I make a throuple? The answer is always yes. And then here's the other thing that I have not read a lot about. A non-committed relationship book. Like, they're all sleeping with each other. They all know about it.
Yeah.
They're all good with it. They're all emotionally
How far are
adulty.
you into the book we're currently reading?
I am halfway.
Okay.
So
All right.
yes.
I mean, it's got a little bit of that.
Yeah. So a spoiler alert for next episode,
Yeah,
I guess.
right?
So that is the thing I would say, is that I haven't really read too many books where, like, grown adults do grown adult things, and some of those things are having multiple.
You were right. It is Pez.
It's Pez.
I never. You said Pez, and I was like the candy. And
Yeah,
my
because I
brain
think his
never-
last name is Perez, and they shorten it to Pez.
Something like that.
Yeah, but yes, Pez.
Pez.
I mean, he seems lovely in a I have way too much money sort of way.
Yes. But maybe in the sequel we also get the Raphael Luna
and
B-plot.
boyfriend
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
Multiples.
Whatever.
Just
Just like gay pride floating.
okay, that would redeem his image.
Yes.
Restore it back from the
Yeah.
thing that he did.
Right, and then also like tiny underwear and like on the top of the float.
I mean, I wasn't sure. Let's go there as well. I was thinking more along the lines of his character arc. You were thinking more along the lines of his happy
Shirtlessness.
trail
Yeah.
arc.
Oh no,
arc.
I'm just thinking about shirtless men.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Shirtless men for
The win.
the win.
I
For
put
your
the-
brain.
For my brain.
For your
my
brain.
For others' brains is juices.
That's true. Okay.
Yes.
Sort of on the this segue is a little rough. You ready?
Okay.
So it's not a sequel, but there is a movie coming out
Right,
of it.
yes.
And did you know
Probably
that it
not.
is directed by Matthew Lopez?
I did not know this until this very moment.
And how does it make you feel?
I'm worried that the movie is going to be 6 hours long.
Okay, for those of you who don't know who Matthew Lopez is, please look him up. He is a playwright and a screenwriter, and his work is wonderfully
Yeah.
complex and primarily tells queer stories and centers queer stories. So it's amazing. But sometimes his most recent Tony-nominated play was 7.5 hours long.
Yes, and we saw all 7.5
And
hours.
we saw the whole thing.
We
yes.
only needed the first 3. Personally, I only needed the first 3. I don't mean to speak for you.
Yeah, I feel like there's like a supercut
Yeah.
that could happen.
I mean, I ugly sobbed at the end of part 1. The Inheritance is what it's called. The
Oh yes, I'm
Inheritance.
sorry. We skipped the
Look,
title.
we're not doing names or titles or descriptions
Yes, just
anymore.
follow us for more tips on how to be vague.
Or not.
That's
just mysterious.
I see
That's
what you
just
did. I see what you
Thank
did
you.
there.
Thank you. So, I am happy he's doing it. I'm happy that it is a queer man of color. Since Alex is, we haven't even talked about this, half Latino.
Oh yes.
Matthew Lopez is full Latino, half Latino. I'm not sure, but is Latino identifying.
Yes.
And so I'm glad that the representation is happening. I mean, did he also write the screenplay?
No, I don't think so. No.
Ooh,
No, someone else wrote the screenplay, I
hot
believe.
take.
Yes, I think someone else wrote the screenplay and he's just directing it.
Cool.
But I am really excited for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Does he have? Do you know if he has? I'm just gonna ask you more hard questions. Do you know if he has any other directing credits?
I didn't look that up. That is a good question to ask. I just,
Thank you.
yeah, I don't.
Stumper.
I don't. Someone look it up, please and thank you. It feels rude to pull my phone out in the middle of this.
I mean, now that I'm about to ask you a question.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So in my reread, it was wonderfully reminding me how good this book is at the Texas of it all. So I am from Texas, and it was perfect. It was perfection. Every time they went back to Texas, I was like, I know exactly everything, and everything is pretty right, close enough right. She even didn't write, we took the I-35. It's I-35. She didn't California-ize
right.
any of that. There was some very lovely nuance there. I could have gone with 50% more y'alls involved just throughout the book.
There were some though.
There were some, but it was only when they were in Texas, not when they were in the White House.
That might be a comment on the regimented way that everybody speaks in the White House.
Yeah, or even just code switching.
Oh yes, yeah.
I know my Texas accent comes out when I am there because it's what you hear. Anywho, so I was just cozy. This book is cozy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that doesn't resonate with you. Like that Texas part probably doesn't land the same, obviously.
Right.
So kind of sidebar question: has there been a book where they've absolutely nailed something so like visceral for you?
So this is not a fictional book. There's a cookbook / travelogue called Black Sea, and it is by a food writer from Edinburgh, actually. Also, I have a question about the pronunciation of Edinburgh. Is it Edinburgh or Edinburgh?
You're right, Edinburgh.
Okay, great. Someone made me doubt that recently, and I was like, I am extremely sure I'm right.
You should drown them in Worcestershire sauce.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, I'm so sorry. So this Edinburgh food writer went to Ukraine, specifically to all of the places on the Black Sea coast, and also to Turkey, and and to the Crimean Peninsula, and wrote recipes of the things that she tried there, but also there are chapters about what it's like in the particular cities that she's in.
Wow.
And this is the first time that I've read a non-native person of those lands talk about them in a way that I was like, oh, like it's one of those things where like she gets it so deeply that it's like so completely that I was like, yes, this is exactly like this is the feeling of the place.
Wow.
So I'm obsessed with her books. Black Sea is the first one, and then the second one is called Red Sands, and she goes to Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, like she goes to the stands, and she eats a lot of delicious bread with stuff inside. And there's a lot of recipes from those books that we use all the time.
Wow.
So yes, but not in fiction.
Sure. Black Seas and Red Sands reminds me of isn't it almost the title of a Scott Lynch book? Red Seas over Black. It's close. It's something like that. Red Sands. I was like, this is a Scott Lynch book. So sorry, my nerd is showing.
All good, but yes. So that book, very much so.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and this isn't really homey in any sort of way because I'm not from New Orleans, but actually, I'm sorry, from Savannah, Georgia, because reading In the Midnight of Good and Evil,
right,
in the Garden of Good.
Midnight
in the Garden of Good and Evil. Oh my gosh, that title. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil really give me a sense of the place and like the magic of the place. And I don't know if it was right or not.
Yeah.
But they're in Savannah.
Sure.
In Georgia for that book, and it made me want to visit Savannah.
Nice.
And to like walk the streets and sweat the sweat that they describe because that's what that book talks about. But yes, so those would be my two examples. But what a great question.
Thank you.
Y'all.
Thank you so much. Hey, nice. Finn loves Savannah. It's one of his favorite cities he said to travel to for work. So it's I think it is worthwhile to want to go to there.
Excellent. Well, I've only been to the airport.
Why me?
But I have yet to be.
If we could judge cities by their airport.
Oh, that would. LA is always under construction. I mean, LA is always under construction is not an incorrect sentence.
No, exactly. That is spot on for the argument.
So yeah, there you go.
Amazing.
Excellent. All right. Do you think this is a good break?
I love it for a break point.
All right, let's do it. Let's take a little break. We're going to take an intermission. When we come back, we will discuss our favorite moments from the book and if this book made us want to get naked. And we're back.
Yay!
From our break. And more button smashing happened for me. Hooray!
Exactly.
I just realized that these buttons make a really weird noise. So, Finn, so sorry for weird button noise.
They make button noises. I don't think it's weird button noises.
I'm sorry. These are the things we think about. We're back from our break.
Yes.
We're talking about Cassie McQuiston's red, white, and royal blue.
Yes.
There we go. And we're going to talk about our favorite moments and
Yes.
if this book made us want to get naked.
Great.
So, I'm first on the docket.
I can start.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Don't sound excited about it.
I am very excited. Tell me your favorite moment.
Please fake it at least. All right. So
That's actually really impolite.
It's okay sometimes. It's okay sometimes.
Okay, we really need to dig deeper into this whole is it okay to fake it?
I consent to you occasionally needing to fake being excited by me. I have to fake it for myself sometimes too. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what this.
We diverged.
We diverged. Finn, edit this out. All right. So this book, favorite moment. This book, I can't stop saying it. It's like I smiled from page 1 to page whatever, like cover to cover. This book is fucking charming. It is. My reread of it was like I was just so happy to be back. And I really hate rereading things.
Mm-hmm.
I will avoid it, like the plague. And usually when you're like, hey, let's talk about a book we read so many years ago, I'm like, I remember nothing. I don't want to do this. And it becomes homework, kind of. This, I was like, yes, absolutely. As soon as you're like, let's do it, I was like, I'm just going to get it off the shelf. I'm going to start it. And then I was done.
Nice.
So this book is, it's the whole thing. It's, when I first read it, this book was the first time I ever read male sex.
Mm.
And so, like, eye-opening for me. And in this reread, it was really about seeing the capsule of that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back on it now, knowing, like, the whole Harry and Meghan Markle thing, and like seeing the destruction of the British monarchy on its younger people, it's just nostalgia. It was just a full nostalgia reread. So like I don't ask for a specific moment. It's the whole thing. I can choose a specific moment. It's under the tree. The moment under the tree.
Mm-hmm.
That moment was as good rereading it as it was the first time. It's a stan.
Nice.
It's a hard stand for me.
Nice. I actually have a favorite moment in this book, and that moment is maybe even like favorite of book moments for like
it tops.
It tops.
This show's
it tops.
Got a lot of tops.
It does. So my favorite moment is the first time that Alex sees Henry naked, and they're in the middle of getting it on, and prior to this it's all been like with clothes on in dark rooms and this
quickie
and this is the first time that they're able to like take their time. And Henry stands fully nude in front of him, and the thought in his head is, how did I ever think that I wasn't bi?
Yeah.
And it's the cutest,
yes!
like, most wonderfully, like, I was like, yes! Like, that feeling is so, much more than any other. I was like, oh, that feels like home. Like, how could my brain ever convince me otherwise? It was the cutest. I was like, yes, this moment. This is exactly the moment of just, like, loving the person you're with, or at least like hormonally responding to them. Because in that moment, they're
visual stimulation is real.
Yes, but exactly visual. That is exactly right. Like he just looks at the other one and goes, "Oh well, that sorts everything."
That clears that up.
Yep.
I just realized, like, so the first moment where you're like, where they have physical contact, they're shoved into a closet in a hospital after their agents thought that a gun had gone off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, so that really redeems our Secret Service agents a little bit.
Oh, there you go. They did.
And then guarded it with their bodies.
Right, they did do that.
But that was like the very first thing, and then it really drops off.
I mean, the very, very first thing is them falling on the cake. That's how it all begins.
Oh, yeah, because the hospital is the second thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
right.
When they fall on the cake, they hate each other.
Yes.
Or they are at least very grouchy about the whole cake situation.
Well, that cake is never coming out of those suits.
I mean,
that's probably a bespoke, custom, what's the street where they make suits? Savile Row suit that Henry is wearing.
Probably.
Rude.
Savoy? Savile?
I thought it was Savile. Saville.
Oh, that is we're thinking of different streets.
I see.
That would explain things.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Great. On that, hot take?
Oh, I mean, 1,000% yes. This book is, like I said, my first experience reading gay sex, male sex, and that was illuminating. And now look at me. So, like, could this
read Casey McQuiston go gay?
She makes you queer. You will become queer in 4 years or less.
Oh, that is the endorsement right there. This is the reason people are protesting.
What if we just go to Pride Parade and we just hold our Casey McQuiston books in the air, and that's it. That's our whole gay Pride Parade.
Excellent. That is the parade.
So I love it. Because I came into the reread just coming home and just finding joy. The reread wasn't sexy for me. Now there are moments that I was like, it just so well written that I was like tingly and anticipatory. Especially there's a kiss against a painting of a founding father, and I'm just like, I love the irreverence of it and like the urgency she wrote. So like, they are well crafted scenes. It's just not arousing for me because I was just so happy. I was just happy to be there. Just happy to be invited. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
How about you? Hot?
Yes. Now, having said that, I haven't reread it, so
Sure.
only first. Yeah, I'm definitely taking
Okay.
that home with me. So first pass only. So many extremely hot scenes.
Mhm.
So many.
Yeah, there are a lot of action-y, romancy moments. Like, it's not just one or two.
And like, so there's a scene in the stable, and I was like, stables do nothing for me.
Mhm.
And then I was like, this scene is doing everything for me.
I mean, it's a tack room.
Right. So exactly.
Tack room. So many leather writing
so
props.
many leather things. And then I loved Alex's reaction because he's like, this should not be doing it for me.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
there's like a hotel room scene with like an adorable travel size lube conversation.
Yes.
And I was like, this is so cute. It's back to being hot again.
I
Like
know.
it like lifted right back around into hotness.
Well, it's like the do you laugh during sex?
Right.
And is that still a sexy thing for you to like laugh, or is sex so very serious? And I feel like that moment for you, like,
I mean, yes, and I'm very much a laugh
Yeah.
during any
it's
kind
so
of
weird. It's so weird.
It's so weird. You're naked,
Yeah.
limbs are flying.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Limbs of flying. Oh my god. I'm occasionally reminded about. Never mind. Okay. Anyway. Well, shall I just read some of the French version now?
Okay. Yes. So anyways, it is very hot.
Yeah.
Yes, please and thank you.
Yeah.
And many more.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm stumped by a cursor on the screen. Here we go.
Sure. Yeah.
Fixed it. All right. So yes, to the hotness. Please introduce us to the French version.
So when I was in Paris, I went to a bookstore and I was like, I wanted to get a book for everybody. And then of course I found the book for me right off the bat. And I read the title, and the title is in English, but it's not Red, White, and Royal Blue. But it's by Casey McQuiston, and she doesn't have a large backstock.
No.
So it had to be this. My dear fucking prince. It's just
And
so good.
isn't that what he writes in one of the letters?
I think you're right. I didn't clock it in my reread,
Yeah,
but I
that's
think
like
you're right.
this is how he signs one of the letters.
Right.
Or
Right.
like this is how Alex addresses one of the letters to Henry with my dear, or one of the emails. Yeah, my dear fucking prince.
Yeah.
But like, accurate. This accurately, like, my dear is very adorable,
Yeah.
and then my fucking is very hot,
Yeah.
and then Prince tells
Yeah.
you the rest of the story.
Yeah.
So
I'm
encapsulates.
gonna do a close up. So they got a cute little American bow tie, and there's a British tie, a tie with the Union Jack on it.
Mhm.
And then here, so maybe a side by side comparison. I mean, Henry is pretty similar. He's wearing his red
and he's
uniform.
in the same pose, even.
Yeah, sort of an arms
Right,
cross,
yeah.
because he's the uptight one.
He is a little bit
Yeah.
uptight. But I feel like I like the illustration of Alex
Yeah.
on the French version.
Yeah.
He's more clearly a person of color.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
he's got sneakers on.
I was gonna say, and he's a little more casual.
Yeah.
So look at other editions of.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, it's the Statue of Liberty wearing the Union Jack.
I mean, someone might be opposed to that.
Well, she was made in France.
Yes, the French might be opposed to that.
But it was a gift from France
to the U.S.
Oh, that's right, not Britain.
Not to England.
Yikes! Awkward.
That is perhaps the issue.
I was gonna read, and then I realized that's probably a bad choice because my French is not good. So I don't want to insult anybody by reading something very poorly in French. Oh my god, that word is humongous. Do you want to just try that one?
Just
Hebdomadaire?
Hebdomadaire, yeah.
Hebdomadaire. All right, great.
Dupont hebdomadaire. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm just reading this to myself.
Yeah,
We're gonna.
yeah.
This makes for great television.
Do you
y'all.
want to reread it, but in French?
No, absolutely not. I'm gonna stick to the OG.
I do want to It's thicker.
It is thicker. Is the text just a bigger font?
Yeah, the text is bigger font, but it's also just thicker in French.
It is always thicker in French. Wow.
Amazing.
Those are the
so,
things.
my dear fucking prince, I highly recommend shopping for your favorite books in another language.
I mean, that is a bunch of fun.
Delightful. So delightful. How many different languages of The Little Prince do you own? Now that I've gotten you another copy in French.
So I have, well, I only have it in 3 languages, but I have many different editions.
Sure.
So there's like a paperback that I can hand out. There's a hardback.
I think I got you a pop-up for the kids.
Exactly.
At one point.
I absolutely have a pop-up, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of different versions. I have the white cover and the blue cover.
You have the white album.
That's right. It's all the same album, but
right.
But yes, yeah. So I do have quite a few copies of that, but only in 3 languages.
Okay. All right.
Only.
Respectable 3.
Agreed.
I feel like we have goals now.
To collect books in multiple languages.
The favorite books, like the set of boundary.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Boundaries.
Now that I'm packing up to move, I had to stop myself. I was at the used bookshop, and they had Strange the Dreamer.
Yeah.
The Lenny Taylor, and it was the Illuminati crate version, which meant that not only were they gold leafed the edges of the book, it was in the shape of the butterflies on a blue background, and it was gorgeous. It was
yeah.
But I was like, I can't buy a book this thick, hardcover with like a dust jacket right now. I'm trying to consolidate my stuff, not expand it, and then I bought 2 books. Anyways,
look, it's you justified them so well as being work related.
They were work related. We're gonna pretend that they were both work related. But yes, speaking of books that are next, what is next?
So I'm about halfway through, and I think we've alluded to it. Halfway through, Rosalie Taylor takes the cake.
Rosaline
Palmer.
Take it's in the notes. Rosaline Palmer takes the cake.
Yeah.
There we go.
Rosaline, what did I say originally?
I'm not sure, but it wasn't Palmer, and it definitely wasn't Palmer.
It wasn't Parker. I think I just, Freudian slipped someone's real name, potentially.
Oh, there we go. I mean, interestingly, I know a Palmer, so that should have been easy for me, but maybe I Freudian slipped away from that person's name.
So, Rosaline Palmer Takes the Cake by Alexis Hall.
Yes.
And this is his first Winner Bakes All book, and, excuse me, it is a delight. It is, bubbly, to be described.
Yes, and I think we're maybe headed towards an episode either on just Rosaline, or if we're extremely ambitious, Rosaline and the second book in the series, which is also out, which has a gorgeous, gorgeous cover with the rainbow
Paris
cake.
Dallincourt is about to crumble?
Yes.
Something close to that.
Yes.
Yes. I'm excited about this book because I am starting to become suspicious at the halfway point. It happened in like the 35-40% mark where the person she's sleeping with is not the love interest.
No.
And that is interesting to me because that's not a typical romance read.
Right. But it's Alexis Hall, so sometimes he's not a typical romance read.
Truth.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And we in our book club we started a little bit of a bingo. And one of the bingo a little bit of a bingo. It was we've started one bingo. And one of the squares was I thought it was by rep, but it keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That you requested to put it on, so it's not somebody's like I'm bi and that's the only time you hear about it in the book. She talks about it all the time and she has to justify her bi-ness all the time.
There are so many instances where I was like, oh yes, that.
Yeah.
Or yeah, most definitely that. Or there's a moment where a partner or previous partner of hers gets or there's a comment about the fact that when men find out that she's bi, they get this weird, like, that's really hot.
Yeah, let's have a threesome.
And it's just like, oh, that is extremely relatable.
Yeah.
And then there's another one where someone is like, well, if you're sleeping with a man, aren't you missing all the women that you could be having?
Mm-hmm.
Again,
oh my god, are we at the same place?
And extremely relatable. I was like, oh god, yeah, that literally the worst. That is the moment where I would have called it quits. But I've been asked that question more times than is healthy.
Right. And so I think he's really nailing oh god, we should be saving this for the episode. But I think he's really nailing the situational experiences.
I think so too, yeah. Yeah, whatever notes he got from his bi friends or whatever notes might be true of him personally, if that's his personal experience, are very, like, they're very relatable. I'm like, oh, I've had these conversations and that is as uncomfortable as it feels accurate.
What about when we do this episode, I do a little bit of research, just coming and knowing what a jammy dodger is, because I do not know what a jammy dodger is, and it's a baking show, and it keeps coming up.
Yes.
And
I believe it is 2 cookies with a little cutout heart in the middle with jam that's holding them together.
That's what I assumed it was, but it's kind of boring.
I mean, not if you're
a
child.
dodger kind of cookie? Like, what is it? Why is it called a jammy dodger?
I think it's a brand.
Mm.
But again, maybe some research would go a long way.
Like, do we think I'll do this research? No.
No, but if someone has some insight on, you know what, we could do research in the form of going to the UK product store, because there are some nearby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we got to there's a scene where she's talking about salad cream.
Yes.
And I had just gone to tea with my friends, and they're like, "Oh, look, they sell salad cream in this tea shop." And I was like, "What the hell?" I still don't know what salad cream is.
Yes, salad cream is a mystery, but yes, I can explain it. But I feel like that should be the cliffhanger.
Okay.
Come back for salad cream.
And that's when we lost all 2 of our followers.
But we appreciate you very much.
We love you.
Come back.
Please do come back.
And on that note,
bye!
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us for an episode of Booklandia.
For more Booklandia, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at l.skyford, Twitter at skyfordl, and hit up our blog, lskyford.com.
We love you to the moon and back, so don't forget to rate and subscribe.
Our eternal thanks for the audio editing and support provided by Finnegan Murphy, who you can find on Twitter at Finnegan1, that's FIONNEGAN, numeral 1, and sometimes Sky herself.